All right, we are coming up on 8 o'clock, so let's go ahead and get back to it, shall we? Welcome back. This is our third night of reading from Morte d'Arthur. This is a retelling, an early retelling, one of the first put down on paper, I should say, of the legend and story and life of the mythological figure King Arthur and his court. So, in the last couple days, we've started to really see various different stories that have come to light. The first day was mostly the early life before Arthur's birth and before he was king, and very, very quickly speedrunning to the crown. We pretty much saw the entirety of the Disney movie in about, 5 or 10 minutes, I should say. It happened faster than you could blink. But then it just continued on. There was more and more and more. There's so much more to this story than most people are really aware of if they're not really clued into Arthurian lore and legend. So we're having a lot of fun with it so far. It is a little dry, in the style of many of these very old epic stories of sort. The dialogue is not really split up as we're familiar with in modern literature. It's a lot more, it feels like reading the Old Testament sometimes, which I guess makes sense because it's kind of the same people that wrote this, or the same sort that worked on coming up with the epistles as we know them. So, but it's still fun. It's a nice take. It's a different sort of thing than we've read otherwise. It's sort of a prototype of a lot of fantasy. And yeah, you're right. A lot of people know the broad strokes. They know the relationship between Arthur and Guinevere, and how Merlin comes and goes, and how Lancelot is the best and the worst of them. And there's so much that goes on. But the how and the why and the little stories are just completely lost. Like the Balin and Balin. No one knows about that. But that was the entire session yesterday. So it's nice to see these stories come out. So let's go ahead and get back into it, because tonight we are starting at the start of book 3. We got to the end of that, which was a great time to be ending off. And we will see what comes next. And I will remind you, at the end of each of these books, it sort of leaps forward to show what else is going on and the ominous portents that come into play. Arthur is not the perfect upstanding gentleman that so many have been either led to believe or have been deluded into. There's a romance behind all this that sort of blinds you to the faults. And there are none of those varnishings here. Nothing is sugar-coated. We see a lot of those faults as we're coming through. And so as it was common when we were reading the Odyssey and Oedipus and so many of our other books, the stories that the further back in the classics you get, the more common it is that pride is really, really frowned upon, and this is sort of a warning tale of how things can go really badly when you don't take a humble stance. And we've seen it with Arthur, and we'll continue to see it with Arthur and his knights. I expect to come up pretty strongly in the next few days. So let's go ahead and get into it. We've got book 3 now of Morte d'Arthur, chapter 1. How King Arthur took a wife and wedded Guinevere, daughter of Leodegrance, king of the land of Cameliard, with whom he had the Round Table. In the beginning of Arthur, after he was chosen king by adventure and by grace, for the most part of the barons knew not that he was Uther Pendragon's son, but as Merlin made it openly known. But many kings and lords held great war against him for that cause. But well Arthur overcame them all. For the most part of the days of his life he was ruled much by the counsel of Merlin. So it fell on a time King Arthur said unto Merlin, My barons will let me have no rest, but needs I must take a wife, and I will none take but by thy counsel and by thine advice. It is well done, said Merlin, that ye take a wife, for a man of your bounty and noblesse should not be without a wife. Now, is there any that ye love more than another? Yea, said King Arthur, I love Guinevere, the king's daughter, Leodegrance, of the land of Cameliard, the which holdeth in his house the Table Round that ye told he had of my father Uther. And this damsel is the most valiant and fairest lady that I know living, or yet that ever I could find. Sir, said Merlin, as of her beauty and fairness, she is one of the fairest alive, but, an ye loved her not so well as ye do, I should find you a damsel of beauty and of goodness, that should like you and please you, and your heart were not set. But there as a man's heart is set, he will loathe to return. That is truth, said King Arthur. But Merlin warned the king covertly that Guinevere was not wholesome for him to take to wife, for he warned him that Launcelot should love her, and she him again, and so he turned his tale to the adventures of the Sangreal. Then Merlin desired of the king for him to have men with him that should inquire of Guinevere, and so the king granted him, and Merlin went forth unto King Leodegrance of Cameliard, and told him of the desires of the king, that he would have unto his wife Guinevere his daughter. That is to me, said Leodegrance, the best tidings that ever I heard, that so worthy a king of prowess and noblesse will wed my daughter. As for my lands, I will give him, wist I it might please him, but he hath lands enow, him needeth none. But I shall send him a gift, shall please him much more, for I shall give him the Table Round, the which Uther Pendragon gave me, and when it is full complete, there is 100 knights and 50. As for 100 good knights I have myself, but I found 50, for so many have been slain in my days. And so Leodegrance delivered his daughter Guinevere unto Merlin, and the Table Round with the 100 knights, and so they rode freshly with great royalty, what by water and what by land, till they came nigh unto London. Well, this is it. So in the first real introduction here of Guinevere, Merlin is very explicitly saying, this is not a great idea, and she's like to have another. Sort of expected that to be less out in the open, one might expect, as, say, maybe a reader might see it coming, but not necessarily Merlin just straight up telling him that your wife, your prospective wife, is like to cheat on you. And Arthur doesn't care. What were we talking about earlier about pride? Alright, Chapter 2. How the Knights of the Round Table were ordained, and their sieges blessed by the Bishop of Canterbury. When King Arthur heard of the coming of Guinevere and the 100 knights with the Table Round, then King Arthur made great joy for her coming, and that rich present, and said openly, This fair lady is passing welcome unto me, for I have loved her long, and therefore there is nothing so life to me. And these knights with the Round Table please me more than right great riches. And in all haste the king let ordain for the marriage and the coronation in the most honorable wise that could be devised. Now, Merlin, said King Arthur, go thou and espy me in all this land 50 knights, which be of most prowess and worship. Within short time Merlin had found such knights that should fulfill 28 knights, but no more could he find. Then the Bishop of Canterbury was fetched, and he blessed the sieges with great royalty and devotion, and there set the 28 knights in their sieges. And when this was done, Merlin said, Fair sirs, ye must all arise and come to King Arthur, for to do him homage. But he will have the better will to maintain you. And so they arose and did their homage. But when they were gone, Merlin found in every sieges letters of gold that told the knights' names and that had sitten therein, but 2 sieges were void. And so anon came young Gawain, and asked the king a gift. Ask, said the king, and I shall grant it you. Sir, I ask that ye will make me knight, that same day ye shall wed fair Guinevere. I will do it with a good will, said King Arthur, and do unto you all the worship that I may, for I must by reason ye are my nephew, my sister's son. Okay, Chapter 3. How a poor man, riding upon a lean mare, desired King Arthur to make his son knight. Forthwithal there came a poor man into the court, and brought with him a fair young man of 18 years of age, riding upon a lean mare. And the poor man asked all men that he met, Where shall I find King Arthur? Yonder he is, said the knights. Wilt thou anything with him? Yea, said the poor man, therefore I came hither. Anon as he came before the king, he saluted him and said, O King Arthur, the flower of all knights and kings, I beseech Jesu, save thee. Sir, it was told me that at this time of your marriage ye would give any man the gift that he would ask, out except that were unreasonable. That is truth, said the king. Such cries I let make, and that will I hold. So it appear not my realm nor mine estate. Ye say well and graciously, said the poor man. Sir, I ask nothing else, but that ye will make my son here a knight. It is a great thing thou askest of me, said the king. What is thy name? Said the king to the poor man. Sir, my name is Ares the cowherd. Whether cometh this of thee or of thy son? Said the king. Nay, sir, said Ares, this desire cometh of my son, and not of me. For I shall tell you, I have 13 sons, and all they will fall to what labor I put them, and will be right glad to do labor. But this child will not labor for me, for anything that my wife or I may do, but always he will be shooting or casting darts, and glad for to see battles, and to behold knights. And always, day and night, he desireth of me to be made a knight. What is thy name? Said the king unto the young man. Sir, my name is Tor. The king beheld him fast, and saw he was passingly well visaged, and passingly well made of his years. Well, said King Arthur unto Ares the cowherd, fetch all thy sons afore me, that I may see them. And so the poor man did, and all were shaped much like the poor man, but Tor was not like none of them all in shape, nor in countenance, for he was much more than any of them. Now, said King Arthur unto the cowherd, where is the sword he shall be made knight withal? It is here, said Tor. Take it out of the sheath, said the king, and require me to make you a knight. Then Tor alighted off his mare, and pulled out his sword, kneeling, and requiring the king that he would make him knight, and that he might be a knight of the Table Round. As for a knight, I will make you, and therewith smote him in the neck with the sword, saying, Be ye a good knight. And so I pray to God so ye may be. And if ye be of prowess, and of worthiness, ye shall be a knight of the Table Round. Now, Merlin, said Arthur, say whether this Tor shall be a good knight or no. Yea, sir, he ought to be a good knight, for he is come of as good a man as any is alive, and of king's blood. How so, sir? Said the king. I shall tell you, said Merlin. This poor man, Ares the cowherd, is not his father. He is nothing sib to him, for King Pellinore is his father. I suppose nay, said the cowherd. Fetch thy wife before me, said Merlin, and she shall not say nay. Anon the wife was fetched, which was a fair housewife, and there she answered Merlin full womanly, and there she told the king and Merlin that when she was a maid, and went to milk kine, There met with her a stern knight, and half by force he had my maidenhead. And at that time he begat my son Tor. He took away from me my greyhound that I had that time with me, and said that he would keep the greyhound for my love. Ah, said the cowherd, I weened not this, but I may believe it well, for he had never no tatches of me. Sir, said Tor unto Merlin, dishonor not my mother. Sir, said Merlin, it is more for your worship than hurt. For your father is a good man and a king, and he may right well advance you and your mother, for ye were begotten or ever she was wedded. That is truth, said the wife. It is the less grief unto me, said the cowherd. Okay, chapter 4. How Sir Tor was known for son of King Pellinore, and how Gawain was made knight. So on the morn, King Pellinore came to the court of King Arthur, which had great joy of him, and told him of Tor, how he was his son, and how he had made him knight at the request of the cowherd. When Pellinore beheld Tor, he pleased him much. So the king made Gawain knight, but Tor was the first he made at the feast. What is the cause, said King Arthur, that there be 2 places void in the sieges? Sir, said Merlin, there shall no man sit in those places, but they that shall be of most worship. But in the siege perilous, there shall no man sit therein but one. And if there be any so hardy to do it, he shall be destroyed. And he that shall sit there shall have no fellow. And therewith Merlin took King Pellinore by the hand, and in the one hand next the 2 sieges and the siege perilous, he said in open audience, This is your place, and best ye are worthy to sit therein of any that is here. Thereat sat Sir Gawain in great envy, and told Gaheris his brother, Yonder knight is put to great worship, the which grieveth me sore, for he slew our father King Lot. Therefore I will slay him, said Gawain, with a sword that was sent me that is passing trenchant. Ye shall not so, said Gaheris, at this time, for at this time I am but a squire, and when I am made knight, I will be avenged on him, and therefore, brother, it is best ye suffer till another time, that we may have him out of the court, for an we did so we should trouble this high feast. I will well, said Gawain, as ye will. So there's already some dispute among the knights of the table, which it's really no wonder. You get up to 150 knights together, all full of piss and vinegar and pride. It's very unlikely that things will continue to be quiet and peaceful. Chapter 5. How at feast of the wedding of King Arthur to Guinevere, a white hart came into the hall, and 30 couple hounds, and how a brachet pinched the hart which was taken away. Then was the high feast made ready, and the king was wedded at Camelot unto Dame Guinevere in the church of St. Stephen's, with great solemnity. And as every man was set after his degree, Merlin went to all the knights of the Round Table, and bade them sit still, that none of them remove. For ye shall see a strange and marvelous adventure. Right so, as they sat there, came running in a white hart into the hall, and a white brachet next him. And 30 couple of black running hounds came after with a great cry, and the hart went about the table round, as he went by other boards. The white brachet bit him by the buttock, and pulled out a piece, wherethrough the hart leapt a great leap, and overthrew a knight that sat at the board side. And therewith the knight arose, and took up the brachet, and so went forth out of the hall, and took his horse, and rode his way with the brachet. Right so anon came in a lady on a white palfrey, and cried aloud to King Arthur, Sir, suffer me not to have this despite, for the brachet was mine that the knight led away. I may not do therewith, said the king. With this, there came a knight riding all armed on a great horse, and took the lady away with him with force, and ever she cried and made great dole. When she was gone, the king was glad, for she made such a noise. Really, Arthur? Nay, said Merlin, ye may not leave these adventures so lightly, for these adventures must be brought again, or else it would be disworship to you and to your feast. I will, said the king, that all be done by your advice. Then, said Merlin, let call Sir Gawain, for he must bring again the white hart. Also, sir, ye must let call Sir Tor, for he must bring again the brachet and the knight, or else slay him. Also, let call King Pellinore, for he must bring again the lady and the knight, or else slay him. And these 3 knights shall do marvelous adventures, or they come again. Then were they called, all 3, as it rehearseth afore, and each of them took his charge, and armed them surely. Sir Gawain had the first request, and therefore we will begin at him. Yeah, Arthur is like, man, she's being kidnapped, or she had her brachet. I think, is that a hunting hound? I don't know, brachet, so she had her brachet stolen, and she's just whining and crying, and now she's being kidnapped, and just get her out of here. Thank goodness she's gone. Yeah, what a piece of work. And then he's just like, now that that's done, we can just move on. But instead, Merlin arranges for the very first of the quests for the Knights of the Round Table to go and find the heart, find the brachet, and find the lady. And now, Chapter 6. How Sir Gawain rode for to fetch again the heart, and how 2 brethren fought each against other for the heart. Man, some of the wordings and phrasings on this very old-timey literature is a tongue twister. Your mind wants to say it as it would normally be in modern parlance, but that is not what's on the page. Sir Gawain rode more than apace, and Gaheris, his brother, that rode with him instead of a squire, to do him service. So, as they rode, they saw 2 knights fight on horseback, passing sore. So Sir Gawain and his brother rode betwixt them, and asked them for what cause they fought so. The one knight answered and said, We fight for a simple matter, for we 2 be brethren, born and begotten of one man and of one woman. Alas, said Sir Gawain, why do ye so? Sir, said the elder, there came a white hart this way this day, and many hounds chased him, and a white brachet was alway next to him. And we understood it was adventure made for the high feast of King Arthur, and therefore I would have gone after to have won me worship. And here my younger brother said he would go after the hart, for he was better knight than I. And for this cause we fell at debate, and so we thought to prove which of us both was better knight. This is a simple cause, said Sir Gawain. Uncouth men ye should debate withal, and not brother with brother. Therefore, but if you will do by my counsel, I will have ado with you. That is, ye shall yield you unto me, that ye go unto King Arthur, and yield you unto his grace. Sir Knight, said the 2 brethren, we are forfoughten, and much blood have we lost through our wilfulness, and therefore we would be loath to have ado with you. Then do as I will have you, said Sir Gawain. We will agree to fulfill your will, but by whom shall we say that we be thither sent? Ye may say, by the knight that followeth the quest of the hart that was white. Now, what is your name? Said Gawain. Sorlouse of the Forest, said the elder. And my name is, said the younger, Brian of the Forest. So they departed, and went to the king's court, and Sir Gawain on his quest. And as Gawain followed the hart by the cry of the hounds, even afore him there was a great river, and the hart swam over, and as Sir Gawain would follow after, there stood a knight over the other side, and said, Sir knight, come not over after this hart, but if thou wilt joust me. I will not fail as for that, said Sir Gawain, to follow the quest that I am in, and so made his horse to swim over the water, and anon they gat their spears and ran together full hard. But Sir Gawain smote him off his horse, and then he turned his horse and bade him yield him. Nay, said the knight, not so. Though thou have the better of me on horseback, I pray thee, valiant knight, alight afoot, and match we together with swords. What is your name? Said Sir Gawain. Alardin of the Isles, said the other. Then either dressed their shields and smote together, but Sir Gawain smote him so hard through the helm that it went to the brains, and the knight fell down dead. Ah, said Gaheris, that was a mighty stroke of a young knight. Alright, so all of these knights are just randomly about, and he's like, You, joust me! Joust me! All through the countryside, just coming up against hooligans. Chapter 7. How the hart was chased into a castle, and there slain, and how Sir Gawain slew a lady. Then Gawain and Gaheris rode more than a pace after the white hart, and let slip at the hart 3 couple of greyhounds. And so they chased the hart into a castle, and in the chief place of the castle they slew the hart. Sir Gawain and Gaheris followed after. Right so there came a knight out of a chamber with a sword drawn in his hand, and slew 2 of the greyhounds, even in the sight of Sir Gawain, and the remnant he chased them with his sword out of the castle. And when he came again, he said, O my white hart, me repenteth that thou art dead, for my sovereign lady gave thee to me, and evil have I kept thee. And thy death shall be dear bought, and I live. And anon he went into his chamber and armed him, and came out fiercely, and there he met with Sir Gawain. Why have ye slain my hounds? Said Sir Gawain, for they did but their kind, and liefer I had ye wrouken your anger upon me than upon a dumb beast. Thou sayest truth, said the knight. I have avenged me on thy hounds, and so I will on thee, or thou go. Then Sir Gawain alighted afoot, and dressed his shield, and struck together mightily, and cleaved their shields, and stoned their helms, and brake their hauberks, that the blood ran down to their feet. At the last, Sir Gawain smote the knight so hard that he fell to the earth, and then he cried mercy, and yielded him, and besought him, as he was a knight and gentleman, to save his life. Thou shalt die, said Sir Gawain, for slaying of my hounds. I will make amends, said the knight, unto my power. Sir Gawain would no mercy have, but unlaced his helm to have stricken off his head. Right so came his lady out of a chamber and fell over him, and so he smote off her head by misadventure. Alas, said Gaheris, that is foully and shamefully done. That shame shall never from you. Also, ye should give mercy unto them that ask mercy, for a knight without mercy is without worship. Sir Gawain was so stonied of the death of this fair lady, that he wist not what he did, and said unto the knight, Arise, I will give thee mercy. Nay, nay, said the knight, I take no force of mercy now, for thou hast slain my love and my lady that I loved best of all earthly things. Me sore repenteth it, said Sir Gawain, for I thought to strike unto thee. But now thou shalt go unto King Arthur, and tell him of thine adventures, and how thou art overcome by the knight that went in the quest of the white hart. I take no force, said the knight, whether I live or I die. But so, for dread of death, he swore to go unto King Arthur, and he made him bear 1 greyhound before him on his horse, and another behind him. What is your name? Said Sir Gawain, or we depart. My name is, said the knight, Ablamar of the Marsh. So he departed toward Camelot. Alright, so chasing a deer has led to all sorts of downfalls for Gawain, as he was just knighted, and that very day, and he's come across a pair of brothers fighting, split them up. All right, that was all well and good. Found a random knight on the other side of a river, killed his ass, and then went to this one, and he had his hounds killed, and the knight killed them in revenge, and so he was getting ready to fight him and decided, no mercy for you. You killed my dog. That apparently weren't all that attached to. I mean, it's just a hunting hound that wasn't his to begin with. And ended up killing this guy's lover. And then it's like, oh no, go on to Arthur. You'll be a good fit for the table, I'm sure. Gawain. Alright, Chapter 8. How 4 knights fought against Gawain and Gaheris, and how they were overcome, and their lives saved at request of 4 ladies. And Sir Gawain went into the castle, and made him ready to lie there all night, and would have unarmed him. What will ye do? Said Gaheris. Will ye unarm you in this country? Ye may think ye have many enemies here. They had not sooner said that word, but there came 4 knights, well armed, and assailed Sir Gawain hard, and said unto him, Thou new-made knight, thou hast shamed thy knighthood, for a knight without mercy is dishonored. Also, thou hast slain a fair lady to thy great shame to the world's end, and doubt thou not, thou shalt have great need of mercy, or thou depart from us. And therewith one of them smote Sir Gawain with a great stroke, that nigh he fell to the earth, and Gaheris smote him again sore. And so they were both on the one side and on the other, that Sir Gawain and Gaheris were in jeopardy of their lives. And one with a bow, an archer, smote Sir Gawain through the arm, that it grieved him wonderly sore. And as they should have been slain, there came 4 fair ladies, and besought the knights of grace for Sir Gawain. And goodly, at request of the ladies, they gave Sir Gawain and Gaheris their lives, and made them to yield them as prisoners. Then Gawain and Gaheris made great dole. Alas, said Sir Gawain, mine arm grieveth me sore, I am like to be maimed, and so made his complaint piteously. Early on the morrow there came to Sir Gawain one of the 4 ladies that had heard all his complaint, and said, Sir Knight, what cheer? Not good, said he. It is your own default, said the lady, for ye have done a passing foul deed in the slaying of the lady, the which will be great villainy upon you. But be ye not of King Arthur's kin? Said the lady. Yes, truly, said Sir Gawain. What is your name? Said the lady. Ye must tell it me, or ye pass. My name is Gawain, the King Lot of Orkney's son, and my mother is King Arthur's sister. Ah, then are ye nephew unto King Arthur, said the lady, and I shall so speak for you that ye shall have conduct to go to King Arthur for his love. And so she departed, and told the 4 knights how their prisoner was King Arthur's nephew, and his name is Sir Gawain, King Lot's son of Orkney. And they gave him the hart's head, because it was in his quest. Then anon they delivered Sir Gawain under this promise, that he should bear the dead lady with him in this manner. The head of her was hanged about his neck, and the whole body of her lay before him on his horse's mane. Right so rode he forth unto Camelot, and anon as he was come, Merlin desired if King Arthur that Sir Gawain should be sworn to tell of all his adventures, and how he slew the lady, and how he would give no mercy unto the knight, wherethrough the lady was slain. Then the king and the knight were greatly displeased with Sir Gawain for the slaying of the lady, and there by ordinance of the queen there was set a quest of ladies on Sir Gawain, and they judged him forever, while he lived, to be with all ladies, and to fight for their quarrels, that ever he should be courteous, and never to refuse mercy to any that asketh mercy. Thus was Gawain sworn upon the 4 evangelists, that he should never be against lady nor gentlewoman, but if he fought for a lady, and his adversary fought for another. And thus endeth the adventure of Sir Gawain, that he did at the marriage of King Arthur. Amen. Yeah, so it only took, killing a lady accidentally, but as you were trying to kill another knight in cold blood, and being caught and getting your ass beat by a posse that was out there, and then randomly saved because you're a Nepo baby, in order to really drive home the chivalric spirit. There's something about these knights, I tell you. Chapter 9. How Sir Tor rode after the knight with the brachet, and of his adventure by the way. When Sir Tor was ready, he mounted upon his horseback, and rode after the knight with the brachet. So, as he rode, he met with a dwarf suddenly, that smote his horse on the head with a staff, that he went backward his spear length. Why dost thou so? Said Sir Tor, for thou shalt not pass this way, but if thou joust with yonder knights of the pavilions. Then was Tor where 2 pavilions were, and great spears stood out, and 2 shields hung on trees by the pavilions. I may not tarry, said Sir Tor, for I am in a quest that I must needs follow. Thou shalt not pass, said the dwarf, and therewithal he blew his horn. And then there came one armed on horseback, and dressed his shield, and came fast forward Tor. And he dressed him against him, and so ran together, that Tor bare him from his horse, and anon the knight yielded him to his mercy. But, sir, I have a fellow in yonder pavilion that will have ado with you anon. He shall be welcome, said Sir Tor. Then he was aware of another knight coming with great rondon, and each of them dressed to other, that marvel it was to see. But the knight smote Sir Tor a great stroke in the midst of the shield, that his spear all to shivered. And Sir Tor smote him through the shield below of the shield, that it went through the cost of the knight. But the stroke slew him not. And therewith Sir Tor alighted, and smote him on the helm a great stroke, and therewith the knight yielded him, and besought him of mercy. I will well, said Sir Tor, but thou and thy fellow must go unto King Arthur, and yield you prisoners unto him. By whom shall we say are we thither sent? Ye shall say, by the knight that went in the quest of the knight that went with the brachet. Now, what be your 2 names? Said Sir Tor. My name, said the one, is Sir Felot of Languedoc, and my name, said the other, is Sir Petipos of Winchelsea. Now go ye forth, said Sir Tor, and God speed you and me. Then came the dwarf, and said unto Sir Tor, I pray you give me a gift. I will well, said Sir Tor. Ask. I ask no more, said the dwarf, but that ye will suffer me to do you service, for I will serve no more recreant knights. Take an horse, said Sir Tor, and ride on with me. I wot ye ride after the knight with the white brachet, and I shall bring you where he is, said the dwarf. So they rode throughout a forest, and at the last they were ware of 2 pavilions, even by a priory, with 2 shields, and the one shield was enewed with white, and the other was red. Well, so far, Tor's off to a slightly better start than Gawain was. We'll see how long this keeps. Chapter 10. How Sir Tor found the brachet with a lady, and how a knight assailed him for the said brachet. Therewith Sir Tor alighted, and took the dwarf his glaive. And so he came to the white pavilion, and saw 3 damsels lie in it, on one pallet, sleeping. And so he went to the other pavilion, and found a lady lying sleeping therein. But there was the white brachet that bade at her fast, and therewith the lady yede out of the pavilion, and all her damsels. But anon, as Sir Tor espied the white brachet, he took her by force, and took her to the dwarf. What will ye so? Said the lady. Take my brachet from me. Yea, said Sir Tor, this brachet have I sought from King Arthur's court hither. Well, said the lady, knight, ye shall not go far with her, but that ye shall be met and grieved. I shall abide what adventure that cometh by the grace of God. And so mounted upon his horse, and passed on his way toward Camelot. But it was so near night, he might not pass but little further. Know ye any lodging? Said Tor. I know none, said the dwarf, but here beside is an hermitage, and there ye must take lodging as ye find. And within a while they came to the hermitage and took lodging, and was there grass, oats, and bread for their horses. Soon it was sped, and full hard was their supper. But there they rested them all night till on the morn, and heard a mass devoutly, and took their leave of the hermit. And Sir Tor prayed the hermit to pray for him, and he said he would, and betook him to God, and so mounted upon horseback, and rode towards Camelot a long while. With that they heard a knight call loud that came after them, and he said, Knight, abide and yield my brachet that thou took from my lady. Sir Tor returned again, and beheld him how he was a seemly knight, and well horsed, and well armed at all points. Then Sir Tor dressed his shield, and took his spear in his hands, and the other came fiercely upon him, and smote both horse and man to the earth. Anon they arose lightly, and drew their swords as eagerly as lions, and put their shields before them, and smote through the shields that the cantles fell off both parties. Also they tamed their helms, that the hot blood ran out, and the thick mails of their hauberks they carved and rove in sunder, that the hot blood ran to the earth, and both they had many wounds, and were passing weary. But Sir Tor espied that the other knight fainted, and then he sued fast upon him, and doubled his strokes, and gart him to the earth on the one side. Then Sir Tor bade him yield him. That will I not, said Abelus, while my life lasteth, and the soul is within my body, unless that thou wilt give me the brachet. That I will not do, said Sir Tor, for it was my quest to bring again thy brachet, thee, or both. Chapter 11. How Sir Tor overcame the knight, and how he lost his head at the request of a lady. With that came a damsel riding on a palfrey, as fast as she might drive, and cried with a loud voice unto Sir Tor. What will ye with me? Said Sir Tor. I beseech thee, said the damsel, for King Arthur's love, give me a gift. I require thee, gentle knight, as thou art a gentleman. Now, said Tor, ask a gift, and I will give it you. Gramercy, said the damsel. Now I ask the head of the false knight Abelus, for he is the most outrageous knight that liveth, and the greatest murderer. I am loath, said Sir Tor, of that gift I have given you. Let him make amends, in that he hath trespassed unto you. Now, said the damsel, he may not, for he slew mine own brother before mine own eyes. That was a better knight than he, and he had done great, and he had grace. And I kneeled half an hour afore him in the mire, for so to save my brother's life, that he had done him no damage, but fought with him by adventure of arms. And so for all that I could do, he struck off his head. Wherefore I require thee, as thou art a true knight, to give me my gift, or else I shall shame thee in all the court of King Arthur. He is the falsest knight living, and a great destroyer of good knights. Then when Abelus heard this, he was more afeard, and yielded him and asked mercy. I may not now, said Sir Tor, but if I should be found false of my promise. For while I would have taken you to mercy, ye would none ask. But if ye had the brachet again, that was my quest. And therewith he took off his helm, and he arose and fled, and Sir Tor after him, and smote off his head quite. Now, sir, said the damsel, it is near night. I pray you come and lodge with me here at my place. It is here fast by. I will well, said Sir Tor, for his horse and he had fared evil since they had departed from Camelot. And so he rode with her, and had passing good cheer with her. And she had a passing fair old knight to her husband, that made him passing good cheer, and well eased both his horse and him. And on the morn he heard his mass, and brake his fast, and took his leave of the knight and of the lady, that besought him to tell them his name. Ugh. Truly, he said, my name is Sir Tor, that was late made knight, and this was the first quest of arms that ever I did, to bring again that this knight Abellius took away from King Arthur's court. O fair knight, said the lady and her husband, and ye come here in our marches, come and see our poor lodging, and it shall be always at your commandment. So Sir Tor departed, and came to Camelot on the 3rd day by noon. And the king and the queen and all the court was passing fain of his coming, and made great joy that he was come again, for he went from the court with little succour. But as King Pellinore his father gave him an old courser, and King Arthur gave him armour and a sword, and else had he none other succour, but rode so forth himself alone. And then the king and the queen, by Merlin's advice, made him to swear to tell of his adventures. And so he told and made proofs of his deeds, as it is afore rehearsed. Wherefore the king and the queen made great joy. Nay, nay, said Merlin, these be but japes to that he shall do, for he shall prove a noble knight of prowess, as good as any is living, and gentle and courteous, and of good tatches, and passing true of his promise, and never shall outrage. Where through Merlin's words King Arthur gave him an earldom of lands that fell unto him. And here endeth the quest of Sir Tor, King Pellinore's son. It's the end of chapter 11. So Tor did, I'd say, a fair sight better than Gawain there. Didn't bring dishonor on him, and was full praised by the king and queen, and by Merlin saying, oh, no, guys, this ain't nothing. Just wait to see what he's going to do next. So, all right. So, not all knights are bad. Not all knights. All right. Chapter 12. How King Pellinore rode after the lady, and the knight that led her away, and how a lady desired help of him, and how he fought with 2 knights for that lady, of whom he slew the one at the first stroke. Then King Pellinore armed him and mounted upon his horse, and rode more than a pace after the lady that the knight led away. And as he rode in a forest, he saw in a valley a damsel sit by a well, and a wounded knight in her arms, and Pellinore saluted her. And when she was ware of him, she cried over loud, Help me, knight, for Christ's sake, King Pellinore! And he would not tarry. He was so eager in his quest, and ever she cried 100 times after help. When she saw he would not abide, she prayed unto God to send him as much need of help as she had, and then he might feel it, or he died. So, as the book telleth, the knight there died that there was wounded, wherefore the lady, for pure sorrow, slew herself with his sword. And Pellinore's already setting things to be about at a level of Gawain at this point. It's not off to a strong start there. As King Pellinore rode in that valley, he met with a poor man, a labourer. Sawest thou not, said Pellinore, a knight riding and leading away a lady? Yea, said the man, I saw that knight, and the lady that made great dole. And yonder beneath in a valley, there shall ye see 2 pavilions. And one of the knights of the pavilions challenged that lady of that knight, and said she was his cousin near, wherefore he should lead her no farther. And so they waged battle in that quarrel. The one said he would have her by force, and the other said he would have the rule of her, because he was her kinsman, and would lead her to her kin. For this quarrel he left them fighting, and if ye will ride apace, ye shall find them fighting. And the lady was beleft with the 2 squires in the pavilions. God thank ye, said King Pellinore. Then he rode a wallop, till he had a sight of the two pavilions, and the two knights fighting. Anon he rode unto the pavilions, and saw the lady that was his quest, and said, Fair lady, ye must go with me unto the court of King Arthur. Sir knight, said the two squires that were with her, yonder are two knights that fight for this lady. Go thither and depart them, and be agreed with them, and then may ye have her at your pleasure. Ye say well, said King Pellinore. And anon he rode betwixt them, and departed them, and asked them the causes why that they fought. Sir knight, said the one, I shall tell you. This lady is my kinswoman nigh, mine aunt's daughter. And when I heard her complain that she was with him maugre her head, I waged battle to fight with him. Sir knight, said the other, whose name was Honslake of Wentland. And this lady I gat by my prowess of arms this day at Arthur's court. That is untruly said, said King Pellinore, for ye came in suddenly, there as we were at the high feast, and took away this lady, or any man might make him ready. And therefore it was my quest to bring her again, and you both, or else the one of us to abide in the field. Therefore the lady shall go with me, or I will die for it, for I have promised it King Arthur. And therefore fight ye no more, for none of you shall have no part of her at this time. And if ye list to fight for her, fight with me, and I will defend her. Well, said the knights, make you ready, and we shall assail you with all our power. And as King Pellinore would have put his horse from them, Sir Honslake rove his horse through with a sword, and said, Now art thou on foot as well as we are. When King Pellinore espied that his horse was slain, lightly he leapt from his horse, and pulled out his sword, and put his shield afore him, and said, Knight, keep well thy head, for thou shalt have a buffet for the slaying of my horse. So King Pellinore gave him such a stroke upon the helm that he clave the head down to the chin, that he fell to the earth dead. Chapter 13. How King Pellinore gat the lady, and brought her to Camelot, to the court of King Arthur. And then he turned him to the other knight, that was sore wounded. When he saw the other's buffet, he would not fight, but kneeled down and said, Take my cousin the lady with you at your request, and I require you, as ye be a true knight, put her to no shame nor villainy. What, said King Pellinore, will ye not fight for her? No, sir, said the knight, I will not fight with such a knight of prowess as ye be. Well, said Pellinore, ye say well. I promise you she shall have no villainy by me, as I am a true knight. But now me lacketh an horse, said Pellinore, but I will have a Honslake's horse. Ye shall not need, said the knight, for I shall give you such a horse as shall please you, so that you will lodge with me, for it is near night. I will well, said King Pellinore, abide with you all night. And there he had with him right good cheer, and fared of the best with passing good wine, and had merry rest that night. And on the morn he heard a mass and dined, and then was brought him a fair bay courser, and King Pellinore's saddle set upon him. Now, what shall I call you? Said the knight, inasmuch as ye have my cousin at your desire of your quest. Sir, I shall tell you. My name is King Pellinore of the Isles, and Knight of the Table Round. Now I am glad, said the knight, that such a noble man shall have the rule of my cousin. Now, what is your name? Said Pellinore. I pray you tell me. Sir, my name is Sir Miliot of Logres, and this lady my cousin, hight Nimue, and the knight that was in the other pavilion is my sworn brother, a passing good knight, and his name is Brian of the Isles. And he is full loath to do wrong, and full loath to fight with any man, but if he be sore sought on, so that for shame he may not leave it. It is marvel, said Pellinore, that he will not have ado with me. Sir, he will not have ado with no man, but if it be at his request. Bring him to the court, said Pellinore, one of these days. Sir, we will come together, and ye shall be welcome, said Pellinore, to the court of King Arthur, and greatly allowed for your coming. And so he departed with the lady, and brought her to Camelot. Oh yes, the legendary knight, Sir Brian, So as they rode in a valley, it was full of stones, and there the lady's horse stumbled and threw her down, that her arm was sore bruised, and near she swooned for pain. Alas, sir, said the lady, mine arm is out of lithe, wherethrough I must needs rest me. Ye shall well, said King Pellinore. And so he alighted under a fair tree where was fair grass, and he put his horse there too, and so laid him under the tree, and slept till it was nigh night. And when he awoke, he would have ridden. Sir, said the lady, it is so dark that ye may as well ride backward as forward. So they abode still, and made there their lodgings. Then Sir Pellinore put off his armor, and then, a little afore midnight, they heard the trotting of a horse. Be ye still, said King Pellinore, for we shall hear of some adventure. Chapter 14. How, on the way, he heard two knights, and as he lay by night in a valley, and of their adventures. And therewith he armed him. So right even afore him there met two knights. The one came froward Camelot, and the other from the north, and either saluted other. What tidings at Camelot? Said the one. By my head, said the other, there have I been and espied the court of King Arthur, and there is such a fellowship they may never be broken, and well nigh all the world holdeth with Arthur, for there is the flower of chivalry. Now for this cause I am riding into the north, to tell our chieftains of the fellowship that is withholden with King Arthur. As for that, said the other knight, I have brought a remedy with me. That is the greatest poison that ever ye heard speak of, and to Camelot will I with it, for we have a friend right nigh King Arthur, and well cherished, that shall poison King Arthur, for so he hath promised our chieftains, and received great gifts for to do it. Beware, said the other knight, of Merlin, for he knoweth all things by the devil's craft. Therefore will I not let it, said the knight, and so they departed asunder. Anon after Pellinore made him ready, and his lady, and rode toward Camelot. And as they came by the well, there as the wounded knight was, and the lady, there he found the knight, and the lady eaten with lions or wild beasts, all save the head. Wherefore he made great sorrow, and wept passing sore, and said, Alas, her life might I have saved, but I was so fierce in my quest. Therefore I would not abide. Wherefore make ye such dole? Said the lady. I wot not, said Pellinore, but my heart mourneth sore of the death of her, for she was a passing fair lady, and a young. Now, will ye do by mine advice? Said the lady. Take this knight, and let him be buried in an hermitage, and then take the lady's head, and bear it with you unto Arthur. So King Pellinore took this dead knight on his shoulders, and brought him to the hermitage, and charged the hermit with the corpse, that service should be done for the soul, and take his harness for your pain. It shall be done, said the hermit, as I will answer unto God. Chapter 15. How, when he was come to Camelot, he was sworn upon a book to tell the truth of his quest. And therewith they departed, and came there as the head of the lady lay with a fair yellow hair that grieved King Pellinore passingly sore when he looked at it. For much he cast his heart on the visage, and so by noon they came to Camelot, and the king and the queen were passing fain of his coming to the court. And there he was made to swear upon the 4 evangelists, to tell the truth of his quest from the one to the other. Ah, Sir Pellinore, said Queen Guinevere, ye were greatly to blame that ye saved not this lady's life. Actually, there were lions in Europe and in England in the Middle Ages and earlier. Why they're in the stories for the most part. But they were hunted out as more and more people were populating the area. Probably not so common as to just randomly eat a random lady that had killed herself and leave just her head, but they were around. It's a lot like the lions that were purportedly in like the Colosseum games in Rome were actually from Europe there, not imported from like Africa or anything. So they had a rather wide range. Where were we? Sir Pellinore said to Queen Guinevere, "Ye were greatly to blame that ye saved not this lady's life." "Madam," said Pellinore, "ye were greatly to blame, and ye would not save your own life, and ye might, but save your pleasure. I was so furious in my quest that I would not abide, and that repenteth me, and shall the days of my life." "Truly," said Merlin, "ye ought sore to repent it, for that lady was your own daughter, begotten on the Lady of the Rule, and that knight that was dead was her love, and should have wedded her. He was a right good knight, and a young man, and would have proved a good man, and to this court was he coming. His name was Sir Miles of the Lawns, and a knight came behind him and slew him with a spear, and his name is Lorraine le Savage, a false knight and a coward, and she, for great sorrow and dole, slew herself with his sword, and her name was Elaine. And because ye would not abide and help her, ye shall see your best friend fail you when ye be in the greatest distress that ever ye were or shall be, and that penance God hath ordained you for that deed, that ye shall most trust to of any man alive, he shall leave you there, ye shall be slain." "Me forthinketh," said King Pellinore, "that this shall me betide, but God may fordo well destiny." Thus, when the quest was done of the White Hart, the witch followed Sir Gawain, and the quest of the brachet followed of Sir Tor, Pellinore's son, and the quest of the lady that the knight took away, the which King Pellinore at the time followed. Then the king stablished all his knights, and them that were of lands not rich, he gave them lands, and charged them never to do outrageously nor murder, and always to flee treason, also by no means to be cruel, but to give mercy unto him that asketh mercy, upon pain of forfeiture of their worship and lordship of King Arthur for evermore, and always to do ladies, damsels, and gentlewomen succor upon pain of death, also that no man take no battles in a wrongful quarrel for no law, nor for no world's goods. Unto this were all the knights sworn of the Table Round, both old and young, and every year they were sworn at the high feast of Pentecost. Explicit wedding of King Arthur. Sequitur Cordis Liber. Yeah, that makes sense. Yeah, I think you're right. By the Middle Ages, they had mostly been hunted out. Maybe a few odds and ends, but when these were originally set, kind of concurrent to the Roman Empire, is where most estimates are of when the chieftain Arthur actually existed, or the legend really began. That was a little bit more, they were more common back then, back when they were, I think that even predates the wall that they were putting up in Britain. So, yeah, there's probably some anachronisms that are left out. But that brings us to the end of Book 3 of The Wedding of King Arthur. Let's go ahead and take a break now for just a few minutes. I need to top up my glass and double check on the kitties. Mr. Simba has been trying to climb in and around the desk, so he probably needs a little bit of attention. So, we'll be back in just a few minutes, and we will resume with Book 4. Alright, thanks guys, be back in just a little bit. All right, we are settling back in. And yeah, one of the side effects of the new, nicer mic, it does pick up literally everything. So, when the cat is getting up to no good, or wanting to be part of the action, you can definitely hear it. So, when someone's being sassy, you can hear it. So, brings a little bit of extra charm to the streams, right? Exactly. I wouldn't have made graphics for him if I didn't want him to continue to be a part of the stream, right? Alright, so we are now coming up on book 4 of the Morte d'Arthur. And this is just a little bit more than a quarter of the way through the book. So we've got quite a bit left ahead of us. This is turning out to be, for as short as these chapters are, it's turning out in general to be a much longer book than I had really bargained for in this. But it's nice to be able to have a nice long section, or a long segment like this, where we can have a series that has some continuity. We may, if it tends to run too long, we may break it up and have something else in between at some point. But at least through this weekend, we'll continue through this, and we'll see how we're feeling about it as we go on. I'm kind of hesitant to step away from any project part way, because I know, as well as any of us know, that it's very easy to not return to something, especially something that's not quite as exciting and riveting as some other books we've read. I know if we'd stopped partway through Wuthering Heights, we may not have returned. So, or, God forbid, Thoreau. If we'd stopped in Thoreau, it wouldn't have finished. So, we'll probably just power through this one. This is our third night, and we'll end at about 30% or so it's not too bad. And yeah, this version has all of the details. I think this may very well be unabridged, just laying it out. So, it's kind of cool. I enjoy it, but it's, I'm kind of a fantasy junkie, so this sort of thing is all part and parcel with it. It is much older, but it hits it scratches that old itch. And it does kind of, you can see how much modern fantasy and fiction sort of pulls from this. It's a lot of the same themes, and you see a lot of like the behavior of the knights you see come up in things like A Song of Ice and Fire. So it is a very strong touchstone for a lot of further literature. And you're right, middle-aged texts are just like this. It wasn't written for, it wasn't written for the purpose of entertainment so much in the same way that a lot of our modern works are written. More just to get it all out there. So, it's just a different sort, a different style, and something to get through. And that's totally fine. Alright, let's go ahead and continue. We will see how far along into book 4 we can get tonight. And yeah, you're right, this is more an account than a story. I mean, even the title, La Morte d'Arthur, The Life of Arthur. So, yeah. Chapter 1 of book 4. How Merlin was assotted and doted on one of the ladies of the lake, and how he was shut in a rock under a stone, and there died. It's a little bit of a different spin than is commonly in the mythos. And so, after these quests of Sir Gawain, Sir Tor, and King Pellinore, it fell so that Merlin fell in a dotage on the damsel that King Pellinore brought to court. And she was one of the damsels of the lake, that hight Nimue. But Merlin would let her have no rest, but always he would be with her, and ever she made Merlin good cheer, till she had learned of him all manner of thing that she desired. And he was assotted upon her, that he might not be from her. So on a time he told King Arthur that he should not do her long, but for all his crafts he should be put in the earth quick. And so he told the king many things that should befall, but always he warned the king to keep well his sword and the scabbard. for he told him how the sword and scabbard would be stolen by a woman from him that he most trusted. Also he told King Arthur that he shouldn't miss him. Yet had ye liefer than all your lands to have me again. Ah, said the king, since ye know of your adventure, purvey for it, and put away by your crafts that misadventure. Nay, said Merlin, it will not be. So he departed from the king, and within a while the damsel of the lake departed, and Merlin went with her evermore wheresoever she went. And ofttimes Merlin would have had her privily away by his subtle crafts, and then she made him to swear that he should never do none enchantment upon her if he would have his will. And so he sware, and so she and Merlin went over the sea unto the land of Benwick, whereas King Ban was king that had great war against King Claudas. And there Merlin spake with King Ban's wife, a fair lady and a good, and her name was Elaine. And there he saw young Lancelot. There the queen made great sorrow for the mortal war that King Claudas made on her lord and on her lands. Take none heaviness, said Merlin, for this same child within this 20 year shall revenge you on King Claudas. Then that all Christendom shall speak of it, and this same child shall be the most man of worship of the world. And this first name is Galahad, that know I well, said Merlin. And since ye have confirmed him, Lancelot, that is truth, said the queen. His first name was Galahad. O Merlin, said the queen, shall I live to see my son such a man of prowess? Yea, lady, on my peril ye shall see it, and live many winters after. And so, soon after, the lady and Merlin departed. And by the way, Merlin showed her many wonders, and came into Cornwall. And always Merlin lay about the lady to have her maidenhood, and she was ever passing weary of him, and fain would have been delivered of him, for she was afeard of him because he was a devil's son, and she could not beskift him by no mean. And so on a time it happened that Merlin showed to her in a rock, whereas was a great wonder and wrought by enchantment, that went under a great stone. So by her subtle working, she made Merlin to go under that stone, to let her wit of the marbles there. But she wrought so there for him that he came never out for all the craft he could do. And so she departed, and left Merlin. That is one way to stop a sex pest. Alright, Chapter 2. How 5 kings came into this land to war against King Arthur, and what counsel Arthur had against them. And as King Arthur rode to Camelot, and held there a great feast with mirth and joy, so soon after he returned unto Cardwell. And there came unto Arthur new tidings, that the king of Denmark, and the king of Ireland, that was his brother, and the king of the Vale, and the king of Solace, and the king of the Isle of Longtanes, all these 5 kings with a great host were entered into the land of King Arthur, and burnt and slew clean afore them, both cities and castles, that it was pity to hear. Alas, said Arthur, yet had I never rest 1 month since I was crowned king of this land. Now shall I never rest till I meet with those kings in a fair field, that I make mine avow, for my true liege people shall not be destroyed in my default. Go with me who will, and abide who that will. Then the king let write unto King Pellinore, and prayed him in all haste to make him ready with such people as he might lightliest rear, and hie him after in all haste. All the barons were privily wroth that the king would depart so suddenly, but the king by no mean would abide, but made writing unto them that were not there, and bade them hie after him, such as were not at that time in the court. Then the king came to Queen Guinevere, and said, Lady, make you ready, for ye shall go with me, for I may not long miss you. Ye shall cause me to be the more hardy. What adventure so befall me, I will not wit my lady to be in no jeopardy. Sir, said she, I am at your commandment, and shall be ready what time so ye be ready. So on the morn the king and the queen departed, with such fellowship as they had, and came into the north, into a forest beside Humber, and there lodged them. When the word and tiding came unto the 5 kings above, said that Arthur was beside Humber in a forest, there was a knight, brother unto one of the 5 kings, that gave them this counsel. Ye know well that Sir Arthur hath the flower of chivalry of the world with him, as it is proved by the great battle he did with the 11 kings, and therefore hie unto him night and day, till that we be nigh him. For the longer he tarrieth, the bigger he is, and we ever the weaker. And he is so courageous of himself, that he is come to the field with little people. And therefore let us set upon him or day, and we shall slay down of his knights, there shall none escape. Chapter 3. How King Arthur had ado with them, and overthrew them, and slew the 5 kings, and made the remnant to flee. Upon this counsel, these 5 kings assented, and so they passed forth with their host through North Wales, and came upon Arthur by night, and set upon his host as the king and his knights were in their pavilions. King Arthur was unarmed, and had laid him to rest with his queen Guinevere. Sir, said Sir Kay, it is not good to be unarmed. We shall have no need, said Sir Gawain and Sir Griflet, that lay in a little pavilion by the king. With that they heard a great noise, and many cried, Treason, treason! Alas, said King Arthur, we be betrayed. Unto arms, fellows, then he cried. So they armed anon at all points. Then came there a wounded knight unto the king, and said, Sir, save yourself and my lady the queen, for our host is destroyed, and much people of ours slain. So anon the king and the queen and the 3 knights took their horses, and rode toward Humber to pass over it, and the water was so rough that they were afraid to pass over. Now may ye choose, said King Arthur, whether ye will abide and take the adventure on this side, for an ye be taken, they will slay you. It were me liefer, said the queen, to die in the water, than to fall in your enemies' hands and there be slain. And as they stood so talking, Sir Kay saw the 5 kings coming on horseback by themselves alone, with their spears in their hands, even toward them. Lo, said Sir Kay, yonder be the 5 kings. Let us go to them, and match them. That were folly, said Sir Gawain, for we are but 3, and they be 5. That is truth, said Sir Griflet. No force, said Sir Kay. I will undertake for 2 of them, and then may ye 3 undertake for the other 3. And therewithal, Sir Kay let his horse run as fast as he might, and struck one of them through the shield and the body a fathom, that the king fell to the earth stark dead. That saw Sir Gawain, and ran unto the other king so hard that he smote him through the body. And therewithal King Arthur ran to another, and smote him through the body with a spear, that he fell to the earth dead. Then Sir Griflet ran unto the 4th king, and gave him such a fall that his neck brake. Anon Sir Kay ran unto the 5th king, and smote him so hard on the helm, that the stroke cleaved the helm and the head to the earth. That was well stricken, said King Arthur, and worshipfully hast thou holden thy promise. Therefore I shall honor thee while that I live. And therewithal they set the queen in a barge into Humber. But always Queen Guinevere praised Sir Kay for his deeds, and said, What lady that ye love, and she love you not again, she were greatly to blame. And among ladies, said the queen, I shall bear your noble fame. for ye spake a great word and fulfilled it worshipfully. And therewith the queen departed. Then the king and the 3 knights rode into the forest, for there they supposed to hear of them that were escaped. And there he found the most part of his people, and told them all how the 5 kings were dead. And therefore let us hold to us together till it be day. And when their host have espied that their chieftains be slain, they will make such dole that they shall no more help themselves. And right so as the king said, so it was. For when they found the 5 kings dead, they made such dole that they fell from their horses. Therewithal came King Arthur, but with a few people, and slew on the left hand and on the right hand, that well nigh there escaped no man, but all were slain to the number 30,000. And when the battle was all ended, the king kneeled down and thanked God meekly. And then he sent for the queen, and soon she was come, and she made great joy over the overcoming of that battle. So, Kay's got about the best wingman you could imagine at this point. The queen is going to be talking him up through all of the ladies of the court. So, I wonder how long it'll be before Kay gets a wife. But then, in the same stroke, Arthur's like, okay, we killed the kings. There's no reason for them to be worried. And then the other army is like in mourning, in shock that their leaders are dead, and without so much as like asking for surrender or anything. In the middle of their wailing and lamentations, Arthur's just like, all right, kill them all. So 30,000 down. When I say this feels almost Old Testament or biblical as we're talking, this is definitely Old Testament style. There is death and dying everywhere. All right, chapter 4. How the battle was finished, or he came, and how King Arthur founded an abbey where the battle was. Oh yes, okay, sure, perfect. Yeah. 30,000 people die. Let's put an abbey here. Let's put a church here. Some monks can live here. It'll be great. There's nothing to worry about. Blood-soaked ass church. Come on. Therewithal came one to King Arthur, and told him that King Pellinore was within 3 mile with a great host. And he said, go unto him, and let him understand how we have sped. So, within a while, King Pellinore came with a great host, and saluted the people and the king, and there was great joy made on every side. Then the king let search how much people of his party there were slain, and there were found but little past 200 men slain, and 8 knights of the Round Table in their pavilions. Then the king let rear and devise in the same place whereat the battle was done a fair abbey, and endowed it with great livelihood, and let it call the Abbey of La Belle Adventure. But when some of them came into their countries, whereof the 5 kings were kings, and told them how they were slain, there was made great dole. And all King Arthur's enemies, as the king of North Wales, and the kings of the north, when they wist of the battle, they were passing heavy. And so the king returned unto Camelot in haste. And when he was come to Camelot, he called King Pellinore unto him, and said, ye understand well that we have lost 8 knights of the best of the Table Round, and by your advice we will choose 8 again of the best we may find in this court. Sir, said Pellinore, I shall counsel you after my conceit the best. There are in your court full noble knights both of old and young, and therefore by mine advice ye shall choose half of the old and half of the young. Which be the old? Said King Arthur. Sir, said King Pellinore, meseemeth that King Uriens, that hath wedded your sister Morgan le Fay, and the King of the Lake, and Sir Hervis de Revel, a noble knight, and Sir Galagars the 4th. This is well devised, said King Arthur, and right so it shall be. Now, which are the 4 young knights? Said Arthur. Sir, said Sir Pellinore, The first is Sir Gawain, your nephew. That is as good a knight of his time as any is in this land. And the second, as meseemeth best, is Sir Griflet, le fils de Dieu. That is a good knight, and full desirous in arms. And who may see him live, he shall prove a good knight. And the third, as meseemeth, is well to be one of the knights of the Round Table, Sir Kay the Seneschal. For many times he hath done full worshipfully, and now at your last battle he did honourably for to undertake to slay 2 kings. By my head, said Arthur, he is the best worth to be a knight of the Round Table of any that ye have rehearsed, and he had done no more prowess in his life days. I thought they said there were 8 openings. That was definitely 6. 3 old, 3 young. Yeah, Urians, Hervis, Galgars. Oh, and the King of the Lakes. So that was 4 old. And the young was Gawain, Griflet, and Kay. That's definitely one short of the 8 that they lost. That they hadn't invented math yet, alright? Chapter 5. How Sir Tor was made Knight of the Round Table, and how Bagdemagus was displeased. Okay, well that makes 8. Now, said King Pellinore, I shall put to you 2 knights, and ye shall choose which is most worthy. That is, Sir Bagdemagus, and Sir Tor, my son. But because Sir Tor is my son, I may not praise him. But else, and he were not my son, I durst say that of his age there is not in this land a better knight than he, nor of better conditions, and loath to do any wrong, and loath to take any wrong. By my head, said Arthur, he is a passing good knight, as any ye spake of this day. That wot I well, said the king, for I have seen him proved, but he saith little, and he doth much more. For I know none in all this court, and he were as well born on his mother's side as he is on your side. That is like him of prowess and of might, and therefore I will have him at this time, and leave Sir Bagdemagus till another time. So, when they were so chosen, by the assent of all the barons, so were there found in their sieges every knight's names that here are rehearsed, and so were they set in their sieges, whereof Sir Bagdemagus was wonderly wroth that Sir Tor was advanced afore him, and therefore suddenly he departed from the court, and took his squire with him, and rode long in a forest till they came to a cross, and there alighted and said his prayers devoutly. The meanwhile his squire found written upon the cross that Bagdemagus should never return unto the court again, till he had won a knight's body of the Round Table, body for body. So, sir, said the squire, here I find writing of you. Therefore I rede you return again to the court. That shall I never, said Bagdemagus, till men speak of me great worship, and that I be worthy to be a knight of the Round Table. And so he rode forth, and there by the way he found a branch of a holy herb that was sign of the Sangreal. And no knight found such tokens, but he were a good liver. So as Sir Bagdemagus rode to see many adventures, it happed him to come to the rock, whereas the Lady of the Lake had put Merlin under the stone, and there he heard him make great dole, whereof Sir Bagdemagus would have holpen him, and went unto the great stone, and it was so heavy that 100 men might not lift it up. When Merlin wist he was there, he bade leave his labour, for all was in vain, for he might never be holpen but by her that put him there. And so Bagdemagus departed, and did many adventures, and proved after a full good night, and came again to the court, and was made Knight of the Round Table. And so on the morn there fell new tidings and other adventures. Chapter 6. How King Arthur, King Uriens, and Sir Accolon of Gaul chased a hart, and of their marvelous adventures. Then it befell that Arthur and many of his knights rode a-hunting into a great forest. And it happed Sir King Arthur, King Uriens, and Sir Accolon of Gaul followed a great hart, for they were well horsed, and so they chased so fast that within a while they three were then 10 miles from their fellowship. And at the last they chased so sore that they slew their horses underneath them. Then were they all three on foot, and ever they saw the hart afore them, passing wary and embushed. "What will we do?" said King Arthur. "We are hard bestead." "Let us go on foot," said King Uriens, "till we may meet with some lodging." Then were they ware of the hart that lay on a great water bank, and a brachet biting on his throat, and more other hounds came after. Then King Arthur blew the prize and dight the hart. Then the king looked about the world, and saw afore him, in a great water, a little ship, all apparelled with silk down to the water. And the ship came right unto them, and landed on the sands. Then Arthur went to the bank, and looked in, and saw none earthly creature therein. "Sirs," said the king, "come thence, and let us see what is in this ship." So they went in all three, and found it richly behanged with cloth of silk. By then it was dark night, and there suddenly were about them 100 torches set upon all the sides of the shipboards, and it gave great light. And therewithal there came out 12 fair damsels, and saluted King Arthur on their knees, and called him by his name, and said he was right welcome, and such cheer as they had he should have of the best. The king thanked them fair. Therewithal they led the king and his 2 fellows into a fair chamber. There was a cloth laid richly beseen of all that longed unto a table, and there they served of all wines and meats that they could think, and that the king had great marvel, for he fared never better in his life as for one supper. And so, when they had supped at their leisure, King Arthur was led into a chamber, a richer beseen chamber saw he never none. And so was King Uriens served, and led into another chamber. And Sir Accolon was led into the 3rd chamber, passing richly and well beseen. And so they were laid in their beds easily. And anon they fell asleep, and slept marvellously sore all the night. And on the morrow, King Uriens was in Camelot, abed, in his wife's arms, Morgan le Fay. And when he awoke, he had great marvel how he came there. For on the even afore, he was 2 days' journey from Camelot. And when King Arthur awoke, he found himself in a dark prison, hearing about him many complaints of woeful knights. Marvelous adventures indeed. And now, chapter 7. How Arthur took upon him to fight to be delivered out of prison, and also for to deliver 20 knights that were in prison. "What are ye that so complain?" said King Arthur. "We be here 20 knights, prisoners," said they, "and some of us have lain here 7 year, and some more, and some less." "For what cause?" said Arthur. "We shall tell you," said the knights. "This lord of this castle, his name is Sir Damas, and he is the falsest knight that liveth, and full of treason, and a very coward as any liveth. And he hath a younger brother, a good knight of prowess. His name is Sir Ontzlake, and this traitor Damas, the elder brother, will give him no part of his livelihood. But as Sir Ontzlake keepeth through prowess of his hands, and so he keepeth from him a full fair manor and a rich. And therein Sir Ontzlake dwelleth worshipfully, and is well beloved of all people. And this Sir Damas, our master, is as evil beloved, for he is without mercy, and he is a coward, and great war hath been betwixt them both. But Ontzlake hath ever the better, and ever he preferreth Sir Damas to fight for the livelihood, body for body. But he will not do other else to find a knight to fight for him. Unto that Sir Damas had granted to find a knight, but he is so evil, beloved, and hated, that there is never a knight will fight for him. And when Damas saw this, that there was never a knight would fight for him, he hath daily lain await with many knights with him, and taken all the knights in this country to see and espy their adventures. He hath taken them by force, and brought them to his prison. And so he took us separately, as we rode on our adventures. And many good knights have died in this prison for hunger, to the number of 18 knights. And if any of us, all that here is, or hath been, would have foughten with his brother Onslake, he would have delivered us. But because this Damas is so false, and so full of treason, we would never fight for him to die for it. And we be so lean for hunger, that unneth we may stand on our feet. God deliver you for his mercy, said Arthur. Hey, it wasn't Onslake the knight that one of the 3 knights at the wedding killed? That name sounds familiar. We'll see. Anon, therewithal, there came a damsel unto Arthur, and asked him, What cheer? I cannot say, said he. Sir, said she, and ye will fight for my lord. Ye shall be delivered out of prison, and else ye escape never the life. Now, said Arthur, that is hard. Yet I had liefer to fight with a knight than to die in prison. With this, said Arthur, I may be delivered, and all these prisoners. I will do the battle. Yes, said the damsel. I am ready, said Arthur, and I had horse and armor. Ye shall lack none, said the damsel. Meseemeth, damsel, I should have seen you in the court of Arthur. Nay, said the damsel, I never came there. I am the lord's daughter of this castle. Yet she was false, for she was one of the damsels of Morgan le Fay. Anon she went unto Sir Damas, and told him how he would do battle for him. And so he sent for Arthur, and when he came he was well coloured, and made well of his limbs, that all knights that saw him said it were pity that such a knight should die in prison. So Sir Damas and he were agreed that he should fight for him upon this covenant, that all other knights should be delivered, and unto that was Sir Damas sworn unto Arthur, and also to do the battle to the uttermost. And with that all the 20 knights were brought out of the dark prison into the hall and delivered, and so they all abode to see the battle. Chapter 8. How Accolon found himself by a well, and he took upon him to do battle against Arthur. Now turn we unto Accolon of Gaul, that when he awoke he found himself by a deep well-side, within half a foot, in great peril of death, and there came out of that fountain a pipe of silver, and out of that pipe ran water all on high in a stone of marble. When Sir Accolon saw this, he blessed him and said, Jesus, save my lord King Arthur and King Uriens, for these damsels in this ship have betrayed us. They were devils and no women. And if I may escape this misadventure, I shall destroy all where I may find these false damsels that use enchantments. Right with that, there came a dwarf with a great mouth and a flat nose, and saluted Sir Accolon, and said how he came from Queen Morgan le Fay. And she greeteth you well, and biddeth you be of strong heart, for ye shall fight tomorrow with a knight at the hour of prime, and therewith she hath sent you here Excalibur, Arthur's sword, and the scabbard, and she biddeth you, as ye love her, that ye do the battle to the uttermost, without any mercy, like as ye had promised her when ye spake together in privity. And what damsel that bringeth her the knight's head, which ye shall fight withal, she will make her a queen. Now I understand you well, said Accolon. I shall hold that I have promised her now. I have the sword. When saw ye my lady Queen Morgan le Fay? Right late, said the dwarf. Then Accolon took him in his arms and said, Recommend me unto my lady queen, and tell her all shall be done that I have promised her, and else I will die for it. Now, I suppose, said Accolon, she hath made all these crafts and enchantments for this battle. Ye may well believe it, said the dwarf. Right so there came a knight and a lady with 6 squires, and saluted Accolon, and prayed him for to arise, and come to rest him at his manor. And so Accolon mounted upon a void horse, and went with the knight unto a fair manor by a priory. And there he had passing good cheer. Then Sir Damas sent unto his brother Sir Ontzlake, and bade make him ready by to morn at the hour of prime, and to be in the field to fight with a good knight, for he had found a good knight that was ready to do battle at all points. When this word came unto Sir Ontzlake, he was passing heavy, for he was wounded a little to fore through both his thighs with a spear, and made great dole. But as he was wounded, he would have taken the battle on hand. So it happened at that time, by the means of Morgan le Fay, Accolon was with Sir Ontzlake lodged, and when he heard of that battle, and how Ontzlake was wounded, he said that he would fight for him, because Morgan le Fay had sent him Excalibur and the sheath for to fight with the knight on the morn. This was the cause Sir Accolon took the battle on hand. Then Sir Ontzlake was passing glad, and thanked Sir Accolon with all his heart that he would do so much for him. And therewithal Sir Ontzlake sent word unto his brother Sir Damas, that he had a knight that for him should be ready in the field by the hour of prime. So on the morn Sir Arthur was armed and well horsed, and asked Sir Damas, When shall we to the field? Sir, said Sir Damas, ye shall hear mass. And so Arthur heard a mass. And when mass was done, there came a squire on a great horse, and asked Sir Damas if his knight were ready. For our knight is ready in the field. Then Sir Arthur mounted upon horseback, and there were all the knights and commons of that country, and so by all advices there were chosen 12 good men of the country, for to wait upon the 2 knights. And right as Arthur was on horseback, there came a damsel from Morgan le Fay, and brought unto Sir Arthur a sword like unto Excalibur and the scabbard, and said unto Arthur, Morgan le Fay sendeth here your sword for great love. And he thanked her, and weened it had been so, but she was false, for the sword and the scabbard was counterfeit, and brittle, and false. Now, this is all about Morgan le Fay and getting up to her antics. Chapter 9 of the battle between King Arthur and Accolon. And then they dressed them both on both parties of the field, and let their horses run so fast that either smote other in the midst of the shield with their spearheads, that both horse and man went to the earth. And then they started up both, and pulled out their swords. The meanwhile that they were thus at the battle, came the damsel of the lake into the field, that put Merlin under the stone. And she came thither for love of King Arthur, for she knew how Morgan le Fay had so ordained that King Arthur should have been slain that day. And therefore she came to save his life. And so they went eagerly to the battle, and gave many great strokes, but always Arthur's sword bit not like Accolon's sword, but for the most part every stroke that Accolon gave he wounded sore Arthur, that it was marvel he stood, and always his blood fell from him fast. When Arthur beheld the ground so sore be bled, he was dismayed. And then he deemed treason that his sword was changed, for his sword bit not steel, as it was wont to do. Therefore he dreaded him sore to be dead, for ever he seemed that the sword in Accolon's hand was Excalibur. For at every stroke that Accolon struck, he drew blood on Arthur. Now, knight, said Accolon unto Arthur, keep thee well from me. But Arthur answered not again, and gave him such a buffet on the helm that it made him stoop, nigh falling down to the earth. Then Sir Accolon withdrew him a little, and came on with Excalibur on high, and smote Sir Arthur such a buffet that he fell nigh to the earth. Then they were wroth both, and gave each other many sore strokes. But always Sir Arthur lost so much blood that it was marvel he stood on his feet. But he was so full of knighthood that knightly he endured the pain, and Sir Accolon lost not a deal of blood. Therefore he waxed passing light, and Sir Arthur was passing feeble, and weened verily to have died. But for all that he made countenance as though he might endure, and held Accolon as short as he might. But Accolon was so bold, because of Excalibur, that he might endure, and held But Accolon was so bold because of Excalibur that he waxed passing hardy. But all men that beheld him said they never saw a knight fight so well as Arthur did, considering the blood that he bled. So was all the people sorry for him, but the two brethren would not accord. Then always they fought together as fierce knights, and Sir Arthur withdrew him a little for to rest him. And Sir Accolon called him to battle and said, "It is no time for me to suffer thee to rest." And therewith he came fiercely upon Arthur. And Sir Arthur was wroth for the blood that he had lost, and smote Accolon on high upon the helm so mightily that he made him nigh fall to the earth. And therewith Arthur's sword brast at the cross, and fell in the grass among the blood, and the pommel and the sure handles he held in his hands. When Sir Arthur saw that, he was in great fear to die. But always he held up his shield and lost no ground, nor bated no cheer. Chapter 10. How King Arthur's sword that he fought with brake, and how he recovered of Accolon his own sword Excalibur, and overcame his enemy. Then Sir Accolon began with words of treason, and said, "Knight, thou art overcome, and mayest not endure. And also, thou art weaponless, and thou hast lost much of thy blood, and I am full loath to slay thee. Therefore, yield thee to me as recreant." "Nay," said Sir Arthur, "I may not so, for I have promised to do the battle to the uttermost by the faith of my body, while me lasteth the life, and therefore I had liefer to die with honor than to live with shame. And if it were possible for me to die 100 times, I had liefer to die so oft than yield me to thee. For though I lack weapon, I shall lack no worship. And if thou slay me weaponless, that shall be thy shame." "Well said." "Well," said Accolon, "as for the shame, I will not spare. Now keep thee from me, for thou art but a dead man." And therewith Accolon gave him such a stroke that he fell nigh to the earth, and would have had Arthur to have cried him mercy. But Arthur pressed unto Accolon with his shield, and gave him with the pommel in his hand such a buffet that he went 3 strides back. When the damsel of the lake beheld Arthur, how full of prowess his body was, and the false treason that was wrought for him to have had him slain, she had great pity that so good a knight and such a man of worship should be destroyed. And at the next stroke Sir Accolon struck him such a stroke that by the damsel's enchantment the sword Excalibur fell out of Accolon's hand to the earth. And therewithal Sir Arthur lightly leapt to it, and gat it in his hand, and forthwithal he knew that it was his sword Excalibur, and said, "Thou hast been from me all too long, and much damage hast thou done me." And therewith he espied the scabbard hanging by his side, and suddenly he stert to him, and pulled the scabbard from him, and threw it from him as far as he might throw it. "O knight," said Arthur, "this day hast thou done me great damage with this sword. Now are ye come unto your death, for I shall not warrant you, but ye shall as well be rewarded with this sword, or ever we depart, as thou hast rewarded me. For much pain have ye made me to endure, and much blood have I lost." And therewith Sir Arthur rushed on him with all his might, and pulled him to the earth, and then rushed off his helm, and gave him such a buffet on the head that the blood came out at his ears, his nose, and his mouth. "Now will I slay thee," said Arthur. "Slay me ye may well," said Accolon, "an it please you, for ye are the best knight that ever I found, and I see well that God is with you. But for I promised to do this battle," said Accolon, "to the utmost, and never to be recreant while I lived. Therefore shall I never yield me with my mouth. but God do with my body what he will. Then Sir Arthur remembered him, and thought he should have been this knight. Now tell me, said Arthur, or I will slay thee. Of what country are thee from, and of what court? Sir knight, said Sir Accolon, I am of the court of King Arthur, and my name is Accolon of Gaul. Then was Arthur more dismayed than he was beforehand, for then he remembered him of his sister, Morgan le Fay, and of the enchantment of the ship. O sir knight, said he, I pray you, tell me who gave you this sword, by whom ye had it. Chapter 11. How Accolon confessed the treason of Morgan le Fay, King Arthur's sister, and how she would have done slay him. Then Sir Accolon bethought him and said, Woe worth this sword, for by it I have got my death. It may well be, said the king. Now, sir, said Accolon, I will tell you this sword hath been in my keeping the most part of this 12-month. And Morgan le Fay, King Urien's wife, sent it me yesterday by a dwarf, to this intent, that I should slay King Arthur, her brother. For ye shall understand, King Arthur is the man in the world that she most hateth, because he is most of worship and of prowess of any other of her blood. Also, she loveth me out of measure as paramour, and I her again. And if she might bring about to slay Arthur by her crafts, she would slay her husband King Urien's lightly, and then had she me devised to be king in this land, and so to reign, and she to be my queen. But that is now done, said Accolon, for I am sure of my death. Well, said Sir Arthur, I feel by you ye would have been king in this land. It had been great damage to have destroyed your lord, said Arthur. It is truth, said Accolon, but now I have told you truth. Wherefore I pray you tell me of whence you are, and of what court. Oh, Accolon, said King Arthur, now I let thee wit that I am King Arthur, to whom thou hast done great damage. When Accolon heard that, he cried aloud, Fair sweet lord, have mercy on me, for I knew not you. O Sir Accolon, said King Arthur, mercy shalt thou have, because I feel by thy words at this time thou knewest not my person. But I understand well by thy words that thou hast agreed to the death of my person, and therefore thou art a traitor. But I wite thee the less, for my sister Morgan le Fay by her false crafts made thee to agree and consent to her false lusts. But I shall be sore avenged upon her, and I live, that all Christendom shall speak of it. God knoweth I have honoured her and worshipped her more than all my kin, and more have I trusted her than mine own wife and all my kin after. Then Sir Arthur called the keepers of the field, and said, Sirs, come hither, for here are we 2 knights that have fought unto a great damage unto us both, and like each one of us to have slain other. If it had happened so, and had any of us known other, here had been no battle, nor stroke stricken. Then all aloud cried Accolon unto all the knights and men that were gathered together, and said to them in this manner, O lords, this noble knight that I have fought withal, the which me more sore repenteth, is the most man of prowess, of manhood, and of worship in the world, for it is himself King Arthur, and all their liege lord. And with mishap and with misadventure have I done this battle with the king and lord, that I am holden withal. Let's see, how much more do we have in this book? Well, there's quite a bit left, actually. Okay, so we're definitely not getting to the end of this book tonight. So let's just get one more chapter and probably call it there. Chapter 12. How Arthur courted the 2 brethren and delivered the 20 knights, and how Sir Accolon died. Then all the people fell down on their knees and cried, King Arthur, mercy! Mercy shall ye have, said Arthur. Here may ye see what adventures befall oft time of errant knights. How that I have fought with a knight of mine own, unto my great damage in his both. But, sirs, because I am sore hurt, and he both, and I had great need of a little rest, ye shall understand the opinion betwixt you brethren. As to thee, Sir Damas, for whom I have been champion, and won the field of this night, yet will I judge, because ye, Sir Damas, are called an orgulous knight, and full of villainy, and not worth of prowess your deeds. Therefore, I will that ye give unto your brother all the whole manor, with the appurtenance, under this form, that Sir Ontzlake hold the manor of you, and yearly to give you a palfrey to ride upon, for that will become you better to ride on than upon a courser. Also, I charge thee, Sir Damas, upon pain of death, that thou never distress no knights errant that ride on their adventure, and also that thou restore these 20 knights that thou hast long kept prisoners, of all their harness, that they be content for, and if any of them come to my court and complain of thee, by my head thou shalt die therefore. Also, Sir Ontzlake, as to you, because you are named a good knight, and full of prowess and true, and gentle in all your deeds, this shall be your charge I will give you, that in all goodly haste ye come unto me in my court, and ye shall be a knight of mine, and if your deeds be thereafter, I shall so prefer you, by the grace of God, that ye shall in short time be in ease, for to live as worshipfully as your brother Sir Damas. God thank your largeness of your goodness and of your bounty. I shall be from henceforward at all times your commandment. For, sir, said Sir Ontzlake, as God would, as I was hurt but late with an adventurous knight through both my thighs, that grieved me sore, and else had I done this battle with you. God would, said Arthur, it had been so, for then had I not been hurt as I am. I shall tell you the cause why. For I had not been hurt, For I had not been hurt as I am, had it not been mine own sword that was stolen from me by treason, and this battle was ordained aforehand to have slain me. And so it was brought to the purpose by false treason and by false enchantment. Alas, said Sir Ontzlake, that is a great pity that ever so noble a man as ye are of your deeds and prowess, that any man or woman might find in their hearts to work any treason against you. I shall reward them, said Arthur, in short time, by the grace of God. Now tell me, said Arthur, how far am I from Camelot? Sir, you are 2 days' journey therefrom. I would fain be at some place of worship, said Sir Arthur, that I might rest me. Sir, said Sir Ontzlake, hereby is a rich abbey of your elders' foundation, of nuns but 3 miles hence. So the king took his leave of all the people, and mounted upon horseback, and Sir Accolon with him. And when they were come to the abbey, he let fetch leeches, and search his wounds and Accolon's both. But Sir Accolon died within 4 days, for he had bled so much blood that he might not live. But King Arthur was well recovered. So when Accolon was dead, he let send him on a horse bier, with 6 knights unto Camelot, and said, Bear him to my sister, Morgan le Fay, and say that I send her him to a present, and tell her I have my sword Excalibur and the scabbard. So they departed with the body. All right, that brings us to the end of chapter 12. There's a fair bit left in this next book, so we'll go ahead and finish this section in tomorrow's reading. So we'll call off here for now. So yeah, this was an interesting bit. As it started out, I didn't expect Accolon to actually be traitor. I thought it was all supposed to have been some sort of mistake, but I guess it was spun such that Arthur was fighting for the villainous knight. Accolon was fighting for the good knight, but Arthur being the virtuous and Accolon being the villainous himself sort of mirrored and twisted things all about. And at the root of things, we find Morgan le Fay, the growing threat and menace upon the horizon. So we'll see if we get any more of this. That's a name that's familiar. We've seen come up. If I remember right, Morgan Le Fay is the sister that Arthur may have boinked and got Mordred with. So, oops. She may be justified in her resentment, we shall say. But I'm sure we'll see more of this coming about as we read more into this tomorrow. So, we'll go ahead and wrap up here for the evening. I thank everyone for joining us for this, our third reading of Morte d'Arthur. This is a fair bit drier than a lot of what we read, but it's interesting nonetheless. And we will continue this tomorrow. If you have not yet, I do encourage you to drop a like on the stream. This is how we convince the algorithm that we're doing good and more people should come see us too. So, with that, I will bid you all good night, and I hope to see you next time, tomorrow night, for our next reading of Morte d'Arthur. Good night, everyone.